I want to talk about what I realized is Parshas Truma is really the makar, or one of the makars for everything that we're talking about. So it makes it a lot easier, and I was carried away with this during Kriyas HaTorah. The Parsha has two similar mitzvahs and two similar psukim, famous ones. The first one is the beginning of Truma. Haber b'nei Yisrael v'yikhu li Truma eis kol ish asher yidvanu libay tikhu is Trumasi. So we have here, that seems to be the extra word, li. V'yikhu li Truma, take for me. What does that even mean? What's the positive shot? Hashem says, take for me a truma. So Rashi jumps in here and he says lishmi, which to me makes it a little bit more complicated, meaning you should take it lishma. So when you're taking the truma to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're taking your money or your gold or your silver or your possessions and you're dedicating it to the Avodas HaMishkan, or to the Mishkan itself, so it should be li. It should be, says Rashi, li, take it to me, it should be lishmi. Just in general, just before we even go further, when you say we're doing something lishma, which is what he's talking about here, lishma. So now that we're all sophisticated and everything, what does lishma actually mean? What does the word actually mean? Like, learn Torah lishma, do a mitzvah lishma.
It's l'shem the mitzvah, l'shem the thing we're doing.
Nagid, what does the word mean? L'shem. So you're learning that means l'shem means like kashem shematirim bebeistin shamala, like just like.
For no ulterior motives.
What does the word mean? I know how it's used. I'm just saying, how does the word use?
Lishma. I would say shmei.
Hey, shmei rabba. So you're saying something different. Then it's not just for the purpose of, but to the shame.
Yud Kevov, connecting the different levels.
Oh, so when you do something lishma, just basic understanding, it probably doesn't mean as many people think it means. Like Yoni said, that I'm doing it in order to, l'shem mitzvah, l'shem Hashem, l'shem yichud kutshabrichu. No, l'shma itself is, I'm doing it, I'm taking it li, it's a definition of li. Rashi's saying pshat, Rashi's not a makubal. I mean, he was a makubal probably, but he's not saying Kabbalah in the Spirish. So he's saying li l'shmi, so take it to my shame. So we learned in the Nefesh Hachaim that there's the Atzmusa Yisbarach, which we have no kasher to, and then there's the Shemois of Hashem, which we do have some kind of a kasher to. We can't understand the spheros. We can't understand Midas HaChesed, Midas HaDin, Midas HaTiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus. That we can't understand. Those Shemos. We can't understand Elokim and Yud Kei Vav Kei. So those are the reason we can understand those things is because that's already the Atzmusa Yisbarach, not talking about him. We're talking about what he does. As he does in the Bria, as he manifests himself in the Bria. So, Lishmi seems to be when you're doing something Lishma, that you're doing it Lishmai. In other words, to the shame, where we can be masig. In other words, it's a matter of kavanah, right? Yichuli, now you're taking the money, I'm taking the money, you're taking the money, but our kavanah is being different. So the kavanah has to be to Hashem. But Rashi seems to want to say, what's Hashem? What do we have with Hashem? What does that mean? You're giving money to Hashem. So you can do it lishmi. You can focus on Hashem, which is a level that we can identify with. Does everyone realize I just told you a huge chiddush? meaning lishma is not just with noble purposes. Lishma means l'shem Hashem, like we say. L'shem yichud kutshabrichu. What does that mean? L'shem yichud kudsha bricha. Doesn't mean for the sake of. L'shem yichud kudsha bricha means we're doing this mitzvah, which is like a long, elongated version of Lishma. L'shem yichud kudsha bricha. I'm doing this l'shem yichud kudsha bricha. Shinte. Yudke, Vavke, the whole thing. That's all. So Rashi is telling us, Li is kind of esoteric, or too esoteric for us, but when the Torah says, or when Hashem says, Daber B'nai Yisrael v'yichlu li truma, what he means is take it easy. You do it l'shmi, for the Shem Hashem.
What does that mean? I don't understand.
So that's what I want to explain, but at least I've lowered the thing, so at least I can relate to it a little bit. A few psukim later, pasuk ches says again, "Va'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'seichem." First one was v'yichul li truma, so we have li. V'yichul li truma, v'asu li mikdash. And here Rashi says, "V'asu li mikdash, v'asu l'shmi beis kedusha." Or Bayis Kedusha, meaning, or Bayis Kedusha. V'asu lishmi Beis Kedusha. You should make a Beis HaMikdash. So there's two things over here. You should take the money and give it to me, not to me, but lishmi. And you should build a Beis HaMikdash, asuli, not to me, but lishmi. It should be the Shem Hashem. Once again, the way we're understanding the Nefesh Hachaim until now, this is what got me thinking about it, is that we can't relate to the Li, but we can relate to the Lushmi. We can't relate to the Atzmusa Yisparach. What's Hashem? Who knows? Leis Machshava Tfisa Beh. But we can't relate to the Lushmi. So Rashi lowers the level, lowers the bar a little bit to tell us in both cases, Yichlu Li Truma, Vasu Li Mikdash. Li. So there's two Li's, and both Li's mean Lishmi. Okay, that's the words here. The Zayar Alamako, which is when you want to get Pashat Pshat, that's where you have to look. So the Zayar says, Hu b'bchinas Ratzu V'shov. So anybody who learns like a little bit in Hasidic Svarim knows that this is a very common idea, a concept of Ratzu V'shov. What does it mean? It's really what I want to just explain here in the next few minutes. Ratzu, like Ratz, V'shov, and come back. Go and come back. Go and come back. So it refers to the Nevuah of Yecheskel in the Ma'aseh Merkava. And Yecheskel, when he had the Nevuah of the Ma'aseh Merkava, saw Malachim, and the Malachim were Ratzu V'shov. Malachim, Chayos, HaKodesh, they were Ratzu V'shov. And it refers to the way the Mefarshim there on the page in Yecheskel, and the way the Zayar explains it very often. This that he saw Ratzu V'shov was like it was the system of life. So hear me out for a second if this is new to you, even if it's not. In other words, there's a system. I'll just give my own example. There's a system called electrical current. That's it. It's a system. Nobody's going to change it. It is what it is, right? It's not alternating current, AC, right? It's going in a circle. It's Ratzu V'shov. What you're looking at is a circuit. Circuit means circle. So Ratzu V'shov means that earth to God, God to earth. The Malachim, Rashi says in Yecheskel, the Malachim are Ratzu. The Malachim are in this world, and they're mishtoikek. They're yearning to get back to their source, and they run up to their source. This is what Yecheskel saw in his Nevuah. Malachim are always like the Kruvim, they're always pictured with wings, they're always trying to get higher. The wings mean always trying to get higher. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always pushing them back down to earth. No, that's not where you are, you belong here. You belong, leave me alone up. So Malachim, that Yecheskel saw, are Ratzu V'shov. Ratzu V'shov. And the neshama, so too, Lashon of the Zohar is Ratzu V'shov. So the neshama of a person, that part within us which is Ruchnius, always wants to go back to its makor. That's the Ratzu. Doesn't mean you want to die. It's a simple hishtaikakus for something which is beyond us. So, every time we daven, we're trying to get somewhere which is into a different world. And if we become a tzaddik, so the biggest cheshek is to become otherworldly. Like it's nice up there for the neshama. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps taking the neshama and pushes it back down, shoiv. So the neshama of a person is Ratzu V'shov. So, everyone with me so far?
That's also in Yecheskel. That is
The neshama.
That applies to people.
That applies to the neshama of a person, yeah. In fact, what he saw when Yecheskel interpreted the Nevuah, he talked about people.
So, in terms of switch then, when the Shov is coming...
Shoiv Ratzu, why?
Because Shov coming back to the source is now Ratz. Going away from the source, that's Shov.
In both cases, you mean the Malachim are in this world and our neshamas are in this world.
What neshama and so the phrase when
Ratzu away from the world, V'shov go back to the world. The neshama's here in the room.
It's not to the source. It's not to Hashem. It's not to the source.
Ratzu to the source of Hashem. V'shov, and Hashem pushes it coming back. Ratzu V'shov. Now that I'm telling you this, you'll see this in a lot of Svarim. B'bchinas Ratzu V'shov. So B'china Ratzu V'shov. Ratzu V'shov all comes from Yecheskel. And Ratzu V'shov all has to do. Ratzu V'shov all has to do with, to put it in terms that I can understand, it talks about our yearning, or we can maybe understand it better with the Malach somehow.
Finite striving for infinite.
Yeah, so very well said. In other words, like with everything that we've been learning, we're very limited, we're very finite. There's only so much we can do. But our neshama is not finite, our neshama is infinite. So there's an automatic yearning for something infinite. We want to do something infinite. So if we don't know what to go with that, we try to make ourselves live forever, shtus. Or we try to make ourselves run as fast as horses or something. Try to do something which has some kind of larger than life. Or go into politics, that's another one. Like try to become something which is beyond, like a movie star, become like a movie star, larger than life. So that's the Ratzu. And what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, it's such a deep message, but it's such a simple one. No, I put you in this earth. You have to be in the earth. You have to be in the world. You have to be part of the world. I put the neshama yeredes l'toich haguf. The neshama is in the goof. This is where you live. This is where you are. Come back down, down, boy. So the malachim are all trying to reach up again, go to their source. Everything. I think there's some type of a yesod in physics which I don't understand completely, but everything yearns to go back to its source. In other words, the river will flow. A tributary will always flow towards a larger body of water. It's always trying to get back. So b'china of Ratzu V'shov. I believe also that's how electricity works. It's Ratzu V'shov. So what you have here, so explains the Zohar, Parshas Truma, Tetzaveh, Yisisa, Vayakel, Pekudei, all 5 parshias from yesterday on, is all about Ratzu V'shov. Something to think about for the next 5 weeks. It's all about, on the one hand, Vayichuli Truma. Vayichuli Truma. Truma, what does the word Truma mean?
Raise.
Gift. What does it really mean?
Raise.
Raise. Laharim. Laharim. You find by a lot of korbanos the union of harama. So the idea of take something which is money, or goat's wool, or gold, or something which came from deep, deep inside the earth. Avnei Shayam, Avnei Miluim. And take it and be meirimit. So this is Vayikhu Li Truma. Take it and bring it up to its highest place. Va'asu Li Mikdash V'shachanti B'seichai is V'shov. So the Ratzu is to take Vayikhu Li Truma, bring it up, and Va'asu Li Mikdash, now, says Hashem, take that money and bring it down to earth and build a base of Mikdash as a Makom, because I don't want you to live here, I want to live there. Asuli Dira V'shachanti B'seichai. I think the Balatanya says a Lashon is that everything starts off with Hakol Hashem and moves to a place of Hashem Hu Hakol, which is pretty Hasidish. But without getting into the whole bilbul of Tzimtzum, what it means is that there's this kind of like a flame, always trying to get away from its. It's always trying to get away from its wick. It's jumping off the wick. It's flickering to try to get away from the wick. But the reality is, if there's no wick, it's gone. The whole idea of the flame is to be able to give light and heat where it is. So it's a Ratzu V'shov. So V'yikhu Li Truma V'asu Li Mikdash V'shachanti B'seicham. Now everybody always quotes the Gemara, which is not a Gemara. V'shachanti b'seicham, b'seichai leiksiv, ela b'seichal echad v'echam Yisrael. Not a Medrash. I think the earliest tracing to this Memra is the Alshach.
Really?
I mean, I might be wrong. On Shabbos on Friday night, I said, I don't believe this is a Gemara. Maybe there's bigger Talmidei Chacham than me here. So I was talking about Hilchos Tefillin. I think it's a Rambam. I don't think it's a Gemara. So after davening, 3 people told me it's a Menachos Chafel. But I didn't get a chance to Google that day, so let's see. But Va'asali Mikdash V'shachanti B'seichai. But it's very beautiful. Whatever it is, it should have been a Gemara. Meaning, it's the Alshich said something which obviously had been Sarah, that Va'asali Mikdash, make for me a Mikdash V'shachanti B'seichai. Not only will I dwell within it, but B'seicham. But this is the whole purpose of life. B'seichal echad v'echad b'Yisrael. B'seicham. B'seichai. He says it in the Lashon Gemara. B'seichai v'ay nemar. Ela b'seicham. The Kadosh Baruch Hu's Mashra Shechinasai B'kol Echad V'Echad Yisrael.
So where's the meeting point, let's say, with the trauma aspect? Is that the trauma goes all the way up to, let's say, Kis HaKavod, and then Hashem comes down? Does it meet in the
L'shmi. So that's where the Shem Hashem comes in. How high, how low. I just want to point out just that it's much more reasonable to say that you can take, to me, in my mind, it's much more reasonable to say that you can take Gashmius and make it into Ruchnius than it is to say you could take something Ruchni and turn it into Gashmius. Anybody disagree with me? Or you don't care one way or the other?
Ruchni is more real. Ruchni is eternal. Gashmi is
In
temporary.
other words, I could take, I'll give you, to use my own example, you can take oil and a wick and make fire. I can take fire and make oil in a wick. You can't work backwards on it. It's a lolech. Nobody, even the greatest alchemists, can't take fire and work backwards and make oil.
In other words, to take the Ruchni to Gashmi without being Mechalel the Ruchni?
Well, or even more than that. It's not just being Mechalel. How can Ruchnius find a Makom in Gashmius? We're going to put Ruchnius in a cup. Where are you going to put it? Ruchnius is Bli Gvul. How do you take? You could theoretically, you can evaporate something. You can vaporize something. Is that the same thing? You can vaporize something. You can cause energy and heat. You can take sort of Gashmius and make it into Ruchnius, so to speak. The reason why Jews are so big into candles, Hanukkah candles, Shabbos candles, Yahrzeit candles, is that's as close as we can get to that idea of taking something which is like oil and wicks and cotton and wood and whatever it is they use, and turning it into something like heat and light and energy. Like that's like already a chiddush that you can do that. But to take something which is ruchani, to take that energy and to turn it into gashmias, I guess that's what solar panels do. But it's hard for me
That's
to be.
That's Simpson.
That's Simpson. That's why it's so complicated. In other words, so the Ratzu is much more understandable than the Shav, which is which brings the Mekubalim into a whole sugya of Tzimtzum, which everybody's fighting with each other, arguing with each other. Nobody's arguing about the Ratzu. They're only arguing about the Shav. How do you get it back into the box? Put the Lahavdil, the genie, back into the box. That's a difficult thing to do.
Isn't this what Kishuf is? Taking spiritual energies, you're doing something with them?
I don't think so. I think that's what Yiddishkeit is. Actually, I mean, in other words, I think you build a shul, you build a Beis Hamikdash, you write a Sefer Torah. Kishuf is accessing energies when they're nishtahar. That's what Kishuf is. But.
I was going to say, like the concept of possibly like mobile and cellular networks, voice packets, are taking something physical like a voice and a sound, and maybe it digitalizes
by digitizing it,
and then codes it.
Right. What's interesting is you can then download also. So you could, that's where you could make. To me, the concept is maybe you're right. Maybe now that we can upload and download, it becomes more understandable. But that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about Ratzu V'shov, upload, download. That's the.
Are those really working energies? Are those working energies? And that's like something that comes from Shamayim.
So we've been learning, and this is why I'm talking about this. We've been learning that the whole idea of a bracha is taking something from the source and bringing it down to a place, taking infinity, and somehow making it be contained in a finite place. So it means to say that's what bracha is, that's what tefillah is, but that's what we are. So we are a physical kli, walking around with an infinite character. Recently I've been talking a lot about death, but it's not like I'm depressed or anything. I'm just saying, like, I guess maybe a certain age where you can start thinking about. But we should all have our arichas yamin. But it's interesting that I went to, just a thought. I just share a thought. I just went to a levaya the other day. Hoshander's went to a levaya the other day, and I'm thinking like people get very disturbed, very emotional by obviously it's very emotional. You're losing somebody, taking a person, putting them in the dirt. And, here in Eretz Yisrael, it's very graphic. Shovel right on the dirt, no coffin. It's a very graphic thing. But the emes is, the emes Shabbat is that it's true. You have to have kavod for the goof because it was a kli for something infinite. So it's just a question of having kavod for the box, for the keli. If this held holy stuff, so now it's tashmishay kedusha. So it's tashmishay kedusha. So don't just discard it. It has chashivas to it. So the whole kavura, the whole levaya, the whole everything has nothing to do with the person per se. It has to do with the goof. Goof is a very finite thing. It lasts, as David HaMelech says, it lasts 70 years. Begvura shmeinim shana. It's a goof. That's all. It's just a goof. And it's gishmak. It's good. A telephone is a telephone, and a plate is a plate, and a cup is a cup, and a goof is a goof. That's So the whole levaya just like occurred to me at the taking part with the kavura. It's sof kol sof. It's covered hameis, and we have to do this. It's covered, but that's the chiddush. The chiddush is like the neshama is already went back to its creator. So the neshama is infinity touching infinity, it went back, losing the keli, which has become really something to schlep around. At some point you get old enough where it's just a schlep, to carry around this goof. Again, I'm not telling the Gemara says sometimes, one of those things the Gemara says that, sometimes if you want to do Haber, Tachshev V'yom HaMisa. So, Yaakov wants to think about Yom HaMisa, but I don't just think like a Davar Pasha that, there's eternity and then there's something very finite. There's infinite and there's finite. So when you're doing Haber, you're serving the finite. You're serving the finite, and that's not good. What happens to that? What happens to that goof that had pleasure? Sof kol sof, whatever. You can be an atheist. What happens to it? There's nothing to it. I suppose there's a hashkafa which would say, well, since that's the end, you may as well enjoy as much as you can. But I mean, if you're a reasonable person, and you realize that, okay, so I'm feeding the finite at the expense of the infinite, doesn't make any sense. So Tachshev V'yom HaMisa, if you think about the Yom HaMisa, you can see this is where you could witness, you could actually go to a levaya, Toiv l'leches l'beis ha'avon, l'leches l'beis ha'mishta, and you can see where there's a separation between the finite and the infinite. You can see it in front of your eyes.
The reminiscent of this striving for the infinite, Moral says, I heard Shem Moral something about Kipazon by the Matzahs, probably Zrizus also.
Ratzu V'shov.
You want to overcome the limitation of time. That's the Zrizus.
The whole Yetzias Mitzrayim, he says. The whole Yetzias Mitzrayim was the Kipazon, not just baking matzahs. The reason why, let me say over what you're saying, the very famous Maral, that the Maral says that the whole eating of matzah is celebrating a fluke. Like the whole eating of matzah is because we didn't have enough time. Okay, so Kadosh Baruch Hu could organize that we did have enough time. We could have eaten Wonder Bread. Like what's the why the fluke? Eating matzah, that's what went wrong in the whole plan. So the Maral, let's with the matzah, like everything worked out perfectly. We've been slaves, now we're free, and we have an honey covered, and we have everything, and al zachem. But the only thing that didn't work out, it was the bread. The bread in the oven long enough. Like it's the only thing that didn't work out. So why are we celebrating? We're making a whole yontiv. Chayiv lechel matzah zol shema. So he says that chipazon was our attempt of Ratzu. And by the way, the Maral wasn't a makubal per se. He uses Ratzu V'shov all the time. It's what I want to do because it's Yecheskel. So let me just so you got it. There's the truma, which means taking something up, and the Beis Hamikdash is the li, is bringing something back down. V'shachanti b'seicha. So truma is the opposite of the seicha. Truma is picking it up, and b'seicham is bringing it down. So that's the two lees. This is li, that's li. Both of them are lishmi. That's bigger what I want to say with the Chumash. If you look at just take you on a 10-minute journey here. The Likutei Moran, that's Reb Nachman Breslover, in Madura Tanina Torah Tzadik Aleph, as the Breslovers like to say. Torah Tzadik Aleph. Da, he says, Yesh shtei bechinois chachma. There's two kinds of chachma. Some new vocabulary words. Chachma ilah v'chachma tata. Chachma ilah v'chachma tata. V'chachma tata nimshach michachma ilah. The only place where chachma tata comes from, chachma tata is our chachma. Our chachma comes from chachma ilah. It's like the Ramban says by the Kruvim, Beis Hamikdash, if you want to understand all these things, Mamash learn Truma Tetzaveh. These are the parshias where there's the connection. Talks about the connection between Hashem and man. This is these 5 parshias. We went out of Mitzrayim, we got the Torah, but this is the connection between, particularly Chachma Tata, Asuli Mikdash V'shachanti B'seicha. What's interesting is that we have to do something first. V'yichuli Truma. That's what's interesting. So he says, Chachma Tata, all Chachma Tata, Nimshach Michachma Ilah, V'yarnika Mikabel Misham. Chachma doesn't get its independent nourishment. Its nourishment comes from a source. Chachmei Lah. Gives an example. Kamaya Rav V'Talmud. It's an example. This is not what we're talking about. A Rav V'Talmud. So you have the teacher and you have the student. Masha Rav Melamidim Talmidoi V'Talmud Mikabel Mimenu. What the Rav teaches and what the Talmud hears, Hu B'chinas Chachmei Lah. This is my Chachmei Lah. Kach Kibalti. You know, it's like Kabbalah. If you learn Kabbalah, it's Kabbalah. There's nothing so much to be mefalpil about, to be choker about. It's not like halacha. Kach kibalti, Kabbalah. Chachmei Lah. V'chachma tata. Hu b'chinas chachmei Lah v'chachma tata. So what the Talmud is makabel mimanu, and now works it through, so that's chachma tata. So all chachma, I think I read once in a secular place that, I don't know if it's true or not, but I read it. Secular, I don't know. But I read that there's no such thing as an original thought. Because everything comes from someplace. It's original. In other words, I heard it from somewhere. I heard something that made me think of this.
Ein Chodesh
Ein Chodesh Tachas HaShemesh.
Exactly. Tachas HaShemesh.
It's not original. The original has to be Chachmei Lah.
That's what Rabbi's saying. That's Tachas HaShemesh is
Tata.
For sure, Tachas HaShemesh means in the Gashmi, it's the world of Asid. So in this world, Torah was original. They say even there's no such thing as original music. Everything's a rip. They found in the. I remember in back in my childhood, where they found that that the, I don't know if it was conscious or unconscious, but even like those original, like the Beatles, so they found Beethoven in there to a different beat, to a different tone, to a different, obviously it was a different sound, but they were able to find the riff. So today, if you have a smartphone, you can go through any piece of music and click, and it'll tell you exactly what's being ripped. It's all computerized. It'll show you 5 places that have the same sequence of notes and the same sequence of. Now it doesn't conscious we do it, but somehow or another everything. It's influence. Yes, everything's a rip, and every thought is ripped off of somebody else. So what's original? So in the world of Tachas HaShemesh, there's nothing original. Everything has to be Yonek from Chachmei Lah. I guess a nevuah is divrei nevius. Divrei nevius is a chiddush. So Rabbi Chaim Brisker famously said, over and over in his yeshiva, in Brisk, that a chiddush is something you understand now and you didn't understand before. That's a chiddush. I learned a chiddush today. It's not a chiddush. Everybody knows that. Today I understood it. So it's something. Sometimes you have that aha moment. So that's the chiddush, but it's not a chiddush in the sense that there's something new. Ein chadash, there is no chiddush.
Even very high levels of, excuse me, my voice, very high levels of engineering and mathematics. It's that they're able to explain phenomenon and how they work. E equals mc squared, or how to take a rocket ship and bring it to the moon and back. They can explain how it works, and then you can exploit it with engineering once you've explained it.
Then you can extrapolate.
But the phenomenon is right there in front of you.
It has to be.
It's already there.
Otherwise, it's
not
not
how you
right.
explain it.
So in other words, I said didn't invent.
You didn't invent E equals mc squared.
Anything.
You explained it.
Anything, and then extrapolated to be able to blow up whole cities and countries. Okay, so that's an extreme. Gewaldig. Chachma tata. So, says Rav Nachman, Chachmei Lah, this is so matim to what we're saying here. Chachmei Lah, so think of Chachmei Lah as the Mayan, and Chachma Tata as your cup. Mayan in the cup. Chachmei Lah, Dahainu Masharav Malamed La Talmud Ze Bechinas Yud. You can explain this. Masha Talmud Makabel Mimenu Sheze Bechinas Chachma Tata Bechinas Lamed.
What?
Lamed. Li. Shu Bechinas Migdal Aperech Ba'avir. He's referring to, he puts here in this thing Chagiga Tezvav, but it's a Gemara in Sanhedrin, that's what I'm familiar with. The Gemara in Sanhedrin says that the Lamed talks about, the Gemara talks about how to write the Oisius in the Sefer Torah. So the Lamed has to be, it's the only letter, which is Kemigdal Perech Ba'avir, that it goes out of the line. All the, like, goes way up. Out of the line. It's very unusual. Most of the shilohs you have in the Sefer Torah is because the Lamed touched something, the Aleph on the bottom, on top of it. Because once you go out of that line, like, you're looking for trouble. So very deep. So the Chachma, you have the Chachma Ilah, Chachma Tata, says Rabbi Nachman, that the Chachma Ilah is the Lamed, and the Chachma Tata rather is the Lamed, journeying up, out of the line. I'm going out of the line, I'm going out of my box over here to be able to reach up higher. And the Chachma Tata is the Yud. A Yud is the most, says this in the Gemara, the most in the line that you can possibly be. There's no chashash of it going out of the line, and if it's out of the line, it's possible gamri. Goes down too low, it's a dalet. Goes up too high, it's a lamed. So the lamed and the yud are like the two extremes, if you will. And this is already the Svarim say, that's not Reb Nachman's Chiddush. So the Chachma Ilah is this traveling upwards, and the yud is traveling downwards. So he says, Masha'arav Malamed La Talmud Zebechinas Yud. Masha Talmud Mekabel Mimenu Zebechinas Chachma Tata Ubechinas Lamed. That's the word also, Lamed, Lamad. The word. Shubechinas, the Lashon of the Gemara, Migdal HaPereich Ba'avir. It's like it's blowing out of the line. Ki HaLeiv, says Reb Nachman, Pereich Ba'avir. The Leiv, again, Rav and Talmud is just an example. It's just an idea where you're Makabel and you're Noisin and Makabel, that's all. HaLeiv Pereich Ba'avir. B'Shemei Masha'arav Oimer. I go to the shir. I hear what's said in the shir. And now the listener hears it, processes it. If my lave is not involved, like you put a tape recorder, it doesn't understand anything. You need a lave, you need a makabel, you need a real receptor. The whole idea of a good teacher is to be able to give the student something which is misyashiv ala leiv. What does that mean? Processable in the mind of the student. Therefore, when the Rav would hear back what the Talmud said, he would say, "Wow, you tell me dayosim mikula." I just said it, but you processed it in a way which is deeper and more understandable than what I meant to say. How could it be more? So the answer is, that's the Chachma Tata. The Chachma Tata is the ability to process something and make it even better. You tell me dayosim mikula. And sometimes you get Bola Lamed, V'nimsa Lamad. 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 Bola Lamed, V'nimsa, you find a Lamed. Nimsa Lamad, I'm learning from you. I came to teach, but I'm coming to learn. It's not a stira. You can throw something out there. Honestly, it happens to me all the time. You throw something out there and say something, and by the time you process it, it's processed by those that are listening. It's much better than what I thought of l'chatchila. It's a common thing. So that's Chachma Ilah, Chachma Tata.
Why Al Halev?
Al Halev. I don't know. Misyashvin Al Halev. Because the Rav is just coming for a landing in the lave. The lave has to bring it in. The Toich Halev. But Talmud Tzarech Litein Halev. Talmud Tzarech Litein Halev. You're following up, you see. Talmud Tzarech Litein Halev. Ulis Bainain B'Masha Amar Rav. Meditates on what the Rav said. That's why it's called the Lamed. Lamed. Lamed means to teach. Learn. Bechinas migdal haperech kanal. V'zeh bechinas lamed l'shem talmud halamed mirav. That's what a word lamed means. That's why it's called the Lamed. A yud is called a yud, by the way, because it's the beginning of the yud kei vav kei. Shem Hashem. It's the most singular. It's the most yichud. It's the most nimsa shaharav atalmu shem bechinas chachma ilah v'chachma tata he bechinas lamed yud. Then he goes on to say, this is a very yesodistic, right at the end of the Likutei Moran. Daki klal haTorah kadoshu b'chinas chachmila. Torah is chachmila. Klal hachachma shabaylam nimshachem b'chinas chachma tata. Every chachma in the world, a little bit like you're saying, every chachma in the world is just a chachma tata. So he wants to say that ultimately, being that there's no original thoughts and everything originates with the Torah, Yistako baraisu bara alma. So therefore, he goes on to say, therefore you'll have a situation of like immediate baraisa. Everything is going, the physics is going to be in the Torah also, because after all, that's the makar. But it's an extreme extrapolation of what it says was taken pasuk. It's extreme. So, but I only said half of what I want to say here. But let's just do a quick chazara. That what we're talking about here is the Beis Hamikdash, or the Mishkan in the case of the parsha. It says li twice. Both of the times Rashi says li l'shmi, Beis Hamikdash l'shmi. One is truma, and one is besocha. One is going up, one's going down. In Lashon of desire on Truma, Ratzu V'shov. Ratzu V'shov. Like the Malachim. Hashem pushes it back down. You see, if you would take something, I just want to point this out. If you would take, let's vaporize something up to the Shemayim. Like I shot an arrow into the air, and it goes into infinity. And it keeps on going and going and going forever. Okay, so you spit into the ocean. So there's no great accomplishment here. The accomplishment is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kiviyachol, stops the chaitz, boomerangs it down, and turns it down, and now it becomes Kedusha to this world. So the beauty of it is not just to be Makabel Kedusha, but it starts off, the parsha starts off, it's counterintuitive. It doesn't start off with, it comes from up, like a Rav in a Talmud, it comes from up to down, now do something with it. No. Vayichuli Truma first, shoot that arrow up. Truma, Laharim. And I'm going to shoot it right back at you, and now Asuli Mikdash. Same lead. The Zohar says a pasuk in Bereshis, by the brachos Yaakov gave to Yehuda, V'hayu chachlili, it's li and li. That your chech, Yaakov Avinu was talking about the taste buds, chachlili, that it worked in both directions. Chachlili, like you did is yad yad, same concept as li. But that's what the Mishkan is. That's what all these parshas are. It's this first going up, and then Hashem pushing it back down. That's what Chachmelach. Mamish the Sulam. Oilem v'yardim. Boy. Oilem v'yardim. Bo.
And in that place.
So it starts with Ratzu. It starts with our Ratzu.
Starts with Olam. Olam is first.
If you'll indulge me for a moment, I don't have time to learn with you, but the Balatanya in Parak Lamed Zayin speaks about the fact, he says something very interesting, it will be Zocha to learn inside, but he says that I'm Gashmias. How do I take my Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, how do I take my Nefesh and shoot it up as an arrow into the Shemayim? So the Balatanya says, because your money is your nefesh. He says that's why damim tartim ashma. Damim means money, and damim means blood. Dam hu nefesh. And dam hu nefesh. So by one, but v'yichuli truma, he doesn't say it about this pasuk, I'm saying, but by yichuli truma, you're taking a truma, you're taking your money, which is as much, other than putting yourself on an altar, like the Akedah, there's no way you can be makir of yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu except for through a korban, or through your money, through something your own. So it's nafsha, he doesn't even say it's moedecha, it's nafshecha. So what you're doing is you're v'yichuli truma, right? Dabra b'nei Yisrael v'yichuli truma mikol ish asher yidvenu liboy. So yidvenu liboy tichus trumasi. It starts with the lathe. This is going from down to up. It starts with the lathe, It manifests itself in money. And I'm bringing that up. I'm being Meirim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is holding his hands like this, Kiviyachol, to push it back down and say, take in and bring the Kedusha back to this world. So huge ramifications for our life. I'm going Mir Hashem to the United States on Wednesday, so I won't be here Thursday or Sunday. I apologize. But I will be back on Tuesday. So I'll come on Thursday. We will not